10. Bank robbing couple. An idiotic couple named John Mogan and Ashley Dubow have been charged with robbing a bank in Asheville, Ohio. According to the police, Mogan was the one who did the actual robbing, but his girlfriend was still an accomplice. He may have gotten away with the crime if he hadn't gone on social media 4 days later and posted pictures of himself and Ashley posing with the loot they ripped off from the bank. In one of the ludicrous photographs, Mogan can even be seen stuffing a huge wad of cash into his mouth. Clearly, he has no idea just how dirty cash money really is. If he didn't get pink eye from that, I'd be really surprised. Naturally, the couple got busted by the police. It really doesn't pay to upload evidence for the cops online where they can easily get it. Both Mogan and Dubow were charged with theft and robbery, currently behind bars at the infamous Pickaway County Jail. Their bond was set at $250,000, but it was more of a formality than anything. These dumb crooks clearly don't have that much money lying around. They don't even have enough brain cells to stay off social media for 5 minutes after committing a bank robbery. 9. Falling asleep on the job. A thief in Thailand was woken up by the police after taking a nap in a pretty stupid place. In fact, this thief may be the stupidest one we've seen so far today. The criminal broke into somebody's house to rob them, but he was suddenly stricken by the need to take a nap. He fell asleep in a child's room and was woken up when the owner of the house called the police. The owner just so happened to be a police officer, asleep in the other room while the robber was napping in his daughter's room. Clearly, the thief didn't stake out the house very well before attempting to rob it. The police officer, when he woke up and realized the man was sleeping in his daughter's bed, phoned his police buddies and they showed up to arrest him. The video of his arrest has since gone viral, and the hilarious look on this guy's face when he realizes what's happening is priceless. If you're going to rob a house, maybe stay away from houses where police live, and maybe don't fall asleep in the middle of the job. 8. Instant karma. In Canada, the act of stealing packages off people's porches has become increasingly problematic. It's one of the easiest yet most despicable robbery-type crimes that a person can commit. But in Mississauga, a suburb of Toronto, one of these sneaky porch bandits got some instant karma. He was driving through the suburb, scouting out packages to steal from people's houses. He saw one that looked enticing, so he pulled his car up, ran to the door, and stole the package. But this was in the winter, and he was driving a Toyota Yaris. He ended up getting stuck in the driveway because his car couldn't back out of the snow. This is the Canadian equivalent of robbing a bank with an empty tank of gas. The homeowner actually walked outside and saw the man with his package, which scared the thief, causing him to drop the package and run back to his car. In his haste to leave, he backed right into a snowbank. He was now stuck between the driveway and the snow with his wheels spinning fruitlessly. The homeowner, instead of getting angry, simply pulled out his phone, called the police, and then filmed the thief desperately trying to get away. But he never did. And the cops showed up quickly and took the porch pirate into custody. 7. An illegible note. Craig Gurnett was released from prison in August after serving over 10 years in prison for robbing banks. This was back in 2006 when police finally caught up to him after a string of robberies that included 4 banks and 11 shops. Just hours after he got out of jail, he went back to robbing. He's now facing new charges and yet another string of heists. But for whatever reason, maybe he spent too much time in jail, he no longer had the skills he needed. His first robbery was at the TD Bank in Washington Heights. He demanded cash and made a getaway with a whopping $759. Next week, he pulled off another heist on another TD Bank, this time getting away with an outstanding $568. He hit a Chase Bank that same day, earned himself $1,000, and then later in the afternoon tried to rob a third bank in Harlem. This time, though, he made a pretty silly error. When he wrote the note that he was supposed to give to the person behind the cash register, he wrote it so poorly that the woman couldn't read it. The bank teller looked at the note, looked back at Gurnett, and told him that she couldn't read the note. In response, he asked if she was stupid and then informed her that he was robbing the bank. He got away with absolutely no money this time, and the cops caught up to him just a little while later. We don't know how many years behind bars Gurnett will get this time, but considering his history, they'll probably never let him out again. 6. The Wheelchair Bandit. In Pittsburgh, a man in a wheelchair did not let his disability stop him from trying to rob a bank. It's hard to say whether this guy was dumb, delusional, or simply courageous. He rolled himself into the First National Bank on the south side of town dressed in a hooded sweatshirt with glasses on and a black hat. He handed a note to the teller informing her that he had a bomb in his backpack and that he would kill everyone inside the bank unless she handed over $50,000. Naturally, the bank teller activated the alarm, but then something very unusual happened. When the teller broke down and started crying, the robber seemed disheartened and upset. He wheeled himself out of the bank without ever receiving the money. Obviously, he felt extremely guilty. When the FBI and police officers showed up on the scene, they quickly found the man's wheelchair abandoned near the bank. When they checked surveillance footage, they saw him getting out of the chair, getting on a public bus, and driving away. Apparently, he hadn't really needed the wheelchair that badly. So how did he get caught after making his daylight getaway? A police officer watching the news that night recognized the man from the security footage. He had helped him cross the street the day before. The man was identified as 56-year-old Emmanuel Luna, and he has since been sentenced to spend 46 months in federal prison for the attempted robbery. Do you think this was a fair sentence for the wheelchair bank robber? Or do you think the fact that he felt so guilty that he left without the money should get him off easier? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit thumbs up and subscribe. 5. The Wrong Train. Don't think for a second that stupid criminals are a modern invention. Back in Minnesota in 1897, a group of exceptionally brain-dead train robbers messed up their heist so bad people are still talking about it today. The robbery happened near Glendon on September 26th. The train was heading west when the robbers appeared. One of them crawled over what used to be called the coal tender car, the car that holds all the coal to keep the locomotive running. According to local county archivist Mark Pyle, this individual pulled a gun on the locomotive engineer and told him to stop the train. This was the first stage of the robbery. The second stage involved another man, the accomplice. His job was to unhook the cars behind the locomotive, the cars that were full of troublesome passengers. You see, behind the actual locomotive, meaning the front part of the train that drags the rest of the cars along, there are a number of different cars. Some cars carry valuables, some are for dining, and some are for passengers. The accomplice was supposed to unlock the cars carrying the passengers so that they could keep the cars full of valuables. The plan didn't go quite as expected. The accomplice unhooked the wrong cars. Instead of just letting the passengers go, he let all the cars, including the one with all the valuables, go as well. By the time they realized their mistake, the first man had already ordered the locomotive engineer to keep going. The prize that the robbers wanted was now miles behind them. So all they managed to do was steal some pocket watches, spare change, and a bit of pocket lint. Then they took off running and were never seen again. 4. The Body Wash Bandit. The Body Wash Bandit has no real name because he hasn't been caught. And while this may make him seem like a crafty robber, he really isn't. This guy walked into a Walgreens at about 9 o'clock at night on September 24th. He carried with him a tote bag, empty when he passed through the doors. After a few minutes of walking around, his tote bag was full. He then ran as fast as he could out the front doors and disappeared into the night. So what makes this guy such a dumb criminal? After all, he did technically get away with a crime. Well, it's because he really didn't get away with much. According to one of the employees who witnessed the man roaming through the store, he walked straight to the personal hygiene section and filled his bag full of body wash. He stole bottles of body wash and other related cleaning products. Apparently, he just needed to get clean. Who knows why he couldn't afford to pay for the body wash, but he obviously smelled so bad that he had no choice but to rob a Walgreens. 3. Getting away on the bus. Giovanni Baltodano is one of the stupidest criminals in the world. You might say he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. He's currently facing 31 charges following an aggressive series of robberies that went on between January 22nd to February 22nd, all in 2021. He managed to rob at least 11 different places while miraculously making his getaway on the public bus. At this point, it makes you wonder if Giovanni was a criminal mastermind or if the police were really so incompetent that they couldn't catch a bank robber on a bus. Whatever the case, the police have referred to the series of holdups as the Note Be Stupid robberies because of the interesting way in which Giovanni asked for the cash. When he entered whichever establishment he was robbing, he would hand over a note with something like, "This is a robbery. Give me the money," written on it. And naturally, they always did. But according to the cops, he never made off with more than $950 in any single robbery. Maybe that's because he went from small business to small business, robbing sandwich shops and cell phone stores. He even robbed a dollar store, as if he was expecting to make off with more than $50. In the end, he simply got too greedy. You would think that after 11 successful robberies, you would just give up. But he kept on robbing, and the police eventually identified him, tracked him to his home, and locked him up behind bars. 2. Locked inside. In Philadelphia, a would-be robber managed to get himself stuck inside of a store as he tried to rob it. According to what a police detective told the local Philadelphia ABC news station, if all robbers were as dumb as this guy, cops' jobs would be a lot easier. The robbery attempt happened at about 5:30 at night, with only one store employee being present. The man walked into the store, pulled a gun on the employee, and then pointed it straight at his head. The robber told the employee to give him the money, and in response, the employee said that he didn't have any. But he said that if the robber would just wait a minute, he could get him some. The employee said that there was another worker outside and that he had lots of money. Amazingly, the stupid criminal agreed to wait in the store while the employee ran out to get his cash. What the robber didn't realize was that this would be the end of his criminal career. The employee ran outside, quickly locked the door using his key, and then pulled down the metal gate and ran away. The robber was trapped inside the store with no way out. The police eventually found him trapped inside, but not before he had unloaded his gun at the door lock in a futile attempt to escape. Apparently, shooting out a lock isn't quite as simple as it is in the movies. 1. A bold-faced robbery. A man has been ridiculed mercilessly for his shocking bare-faced robbery. His name is Richard Giles, and he tried to rob the Trustmark Bank in Jackson, Mississippi. He walked into the bank with his face mask, you know, the ones everyone has to wear for COVID-19, pulled down around his chin like a diaper. The one time in history when you can actually walk into a bank with a mask on, this guy had his drooped underneath his chin. He stood in line with his face clearly visible to the cameras, then handed a note to the bank teller and made off with a small sum of cash. Following the holdup, the Jackson police tweeted screenshots from the surveillance footage which clearly showed who the robber was. It took them no time at all to track Richard Giles down and arrest him. Which of these stupid robbers deserves the award for dumbest criminal ever? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, remember to hit subscribe and come back for more awesome content. See you next time. Bye.